Here we go with the rules of pickleball. In pickleball, we will be playing using rally scoring. Rally scoring means if you win the ball and it is your turn to serve, you also win the point. So in rally scoring, you don't have to be the one serving in order to win the point. To serve, your feet must both be behind the baseline, this long back line, until after the ball is struck. Players must first announce the score before serving, and you always say the server's score first. So if I'm serving, I'm going to say my team's score first. Serve must be made underhand so that the ball is contacted with the paddle underneath the waist. The serve must travel diagonally and land in between the non-volley zone and the baseline for the service court opposite. So in this case, the ball starting from the right side, player A needs to travel and land into this area here. This is where the ball must go. When the ball comes to a side of the court, the person on the right side facing the net always starts with a ball. To begin a game, it will be whichever team we decide is going to be the first team to serve. The player on the right serves. So player A is going to serve the ball across the court into this area. Hopefully B can return it and the ball will go back and forth. If team 1 wins the point and wins the ball, then person A is going to continue serving, and they're going to take the ball and switch spots with person D. So they need to be behind the baseline to score. Their partner is going to switch over to the other side of the court. Team 2, players B and C, do not switch sides. Only the team that is serving switches sides. And now, this time, player A is going to serve cross court to the other side to player C. Strategically, player C is probably not going to want to be this close. They're going to want to back up. Player B will then shuffle forward. So player A will continue to serve the ball until their team loses the ball. At that point, the ball will come over, and because player B is on the right side of the court, player B is now going to take the ball behind the baseline, and player B is going to serve. Player B serves until they lose the ball, and then the ball will go to player C, and player C will serve to their partner. When player C loses the ball is going to then come back to the other side of the net, and whoever is on the right side is going to start and serve the ball. And once player D loses the ball, then their partner will get a chance to serve. After player A loses the ball, then we will go to the opposite side of the net, and player on the right, in this case B, will serve. So the ball starts with one team and only one player from that team serves before it goes to the other side. Then both players will serve, and then the ball will go back to the other side. On the right, though, always starts on the right, and both players will serve. It's a little bit confusing. If you have questions, make sure that you ask. So recap of serving. If team 2 was going to start a new game and they were going to serve, player B is going to serve because they are on the right side of the court. Player B is going to serve as long as they are continuing, their team is continuing to get points. Because team 2 started with the ball, they only get to serve one time until their time is up. Only one player on their team gets to serve. Once player B loses the serve, then it will come to team 1, and because person D is on the right side, they will serve. When they lose the serve, their partner will serve. When their partner loses the serve, it will come back to this team, and it could be either player B again, or if player B and C have switched, then the other player would play. But in this case, player B is going to serve until they run out, then player C, and then it comes back over to player D. So it always starts on the right side of the court. Now, there's a rule called the double bounce rule. To explain this, we're going to watch a video.
Today we'll be explaining the double bounce rule. This is one of the easiest rules to misunderstand. Each team needs to let the ball bounce on their side of the court at the beginning of each point before they can start taking the ball out of the air. your serve, you have to let the receiver hit the ball back and it bounces on your side before you can start taking the ball out of the air. Now let's head out to the courts and show you a couple examples of what we're talking about. It doesn't mean that you're allowed to let the ball bounce twice on your side of the court.
So just to reiterate, if person D serves, the ball must bounce before player B can return it. Then the ball must bounce before anyone on this team can return it. After that point, then anybody can volley the ball or hit it before it bounces. The only restriction to that is due to the non-volley zone. The non-volley zone is between the short service line and the net. So this is the non-volley zone for Team 2. This is the non-volley zone for Team 1. Now what this non-volley zone means is that your feet must remain on the ground and you cannot hit the ball without it bouncing first if you are standing or any part of you is in this zone. To volley a ball means to hit it in the air without letting it bounce. All volleying must be done with the player's feet behind this non-volley zone. Finally, we need to talk about faults. The ball can only bounce one time per side. After the ball is hit by a player, it must travel to the other side of the net. If the ball hits one of the sidelines or the baseline, it is a playable ball, so the line is in. When a player or team fails to win the rally, they're said to have made a fault. Some examples of faults are hitting the ball out of bounds, serving the ball into an incorrect area. So if D was going to serve, they serve it not within that zone. Let's say that they hit it in the non-volley zone. That would be a fault, and the other team would get the ball or their partner would get the ball, but the other team would get the point. Volleying the ball before it has bounced once on each side, so violating the double bounce rule. Hitting the ball into the net or hitting the net with your paddle or body. Hitting the ball while in the non-volley zone before it is allowed to bounce. Touching the non-volley zone with your paddle or clothes while attempting to hit a volley. Stepping on or over the non-volley zone line on a follow-through. Missing the ball when you try and hit it, or if the server swings the paddle with the intent of hitting the ball, that misses. For any of those cases, whichever team has made the fault, the opposite team will gain the point since we are using rally scoring. What we will be doing in class is playing for a time, so you will continue playing the game until we call time. So there is no end score with how we will be playing. That should help you understand the rules of pickleball.